FreightCenter Bill Baratta, Manager of Business Development and Strategic Partnership at FreightCenter, Alli Downs, HR and Talent Assistant, and Matthew Brosious, President of FreightCenter, in studio with us today. Bill Baratta, you brought me a whole room full of lovely people today. What's going on?
Well, you know how much I love you. And by the way, you look amazing.
Thank you.
Congratulations.
Thank you. I appreciate it. Guess what? You know all the right things to say to pregnant women.
That's right. That's right. I do what I can.
Okay.
Yes, I haven't seen you in several months, and I started a new career, a new position. I know. I'm now the manager.
Congratulations.
Thank you very much. I'm the manager of business development and strategic partnerships for a company called FreightCenter.
Okay.
They're a 3PL, third-party logistics.
Okay.
Ooh, it's very, very fancy stuff. Anyhow, we're here because we are doing a big hiring campaign, and we are really big on hiring veterans.
That's wonderful.
I brought a veteran. I actually two veterans.
Yes.
And one actually happens to own the company. That is Matt Brosious.
Well, let's meet our veterans. We're so happy and thankful for what you guys do and have done. So, Matt, we'll start with you.
Good morning. My name is Matthew Brosious. I am the president and the co-founder of the company. Started the company coming up in July. It'll be 18 years. So it's been doing it for quite some time. So.
Well, how old were you when you started? You look young.
I am young. I'm 42. I'll be 43 in August. So not long after I got out of the military.
Right.
So, 23, 24. So I joined the military right after high school when everybody else was going to college. I didn't even take my SATs. I went straight into the service. I knew I was going to do that ever since I was a young kid. My father was a Marine. I kind of wanted to be like him. And when I met with the recruiters, I decided to go Army, and
he was a Ranger.
Yeah,
right.
Absolutely.
He's
an Army Ranger.
He's pretty bad.
Yeah. That was an exciting opportunity for me because it's kind of funny how a decision that took about 5.5 seconds has stayed with me for my whole life, because the truth of
the decision to go into the military in general, or to select Army over Marines.
To specifically become a Ranger.
A Ranger.
Now, one of the most surprising things about it is I didn't really know what an Army Ranger was when I joined the Army. I mean, I heard about it, but it was kind of like at the time, like 20 years ago, a lot of people didn't hear about Navy SEALs. I mean, when you would, they were more like a thing on TV.
Right.
So I was in the military, and I scored incredibly high on a PT test. I ended up breaking a record in the basic training. And apparently,
what kinds of tests?
It was
testing did it involve?
It was a number of push-ups in 2 minutes.
Wow.
So I did.
I'd still fail that.
Yeah, I ended up doing about 160 in 2 minutes.
Oh my God.
Breaking the record, and the previous record holder was an Army Ranger who was an instructor in Fort Benning at the time. So they brought him down, and
they're like, "Come take a look at this guy."
Yeah, and they said, "How would you like to be an Army Ranger?" And I'm like, "Yeah, I don't know." And they're like, and a bunch of people around me, and I was like, "Hey, do it." So I'm like, "Well, kind of what is it?" And people are like, "You don't know what an Army Ranger is?" I'm like, "Well, I kind of do." So I kind of did it because I thought it'd be cool, and it ended up being a big awakening. It was probably the first time in my life. I've been a very competitive person my whole life, and playing sports my whole life. And I always tried to be like when I wrestled, I was a captain of the wrestling team. When I played football, I was captain of the football team. And when I was in basic training and doing the PT test, I was the best, and I was used to being really good. And after I got into the Rangers, it was the first time that I was around 100 people, and I think I was the absolute worst.
Right.
Because they trim the best to the best to the best to the best. And no matter how good you are, most probably you're going to be the worst when you first get in.
Interesting.
And then after a few months, then you kind of, you get better at it, and you get better at it. And then new people come in, and yeah.
So here you are, you're used to excelling at everything you do in your life, and then you get somewhere and you're like, oh my gosh, I have to see what this is like to not be the best. It was probably in some way good for character development.
It was great because I got to be around a lot of people who were better than me on so many little things, and I realized an important life lesson that while I certainly believe that life is what you put into it, but I also learned that no matter how hard you try and no matter how hard you want something, there's still somebody that's better than you.
Yeah, that's a good way of looking at it, isn't it? So, Matt there's a great story. So Matt is this Army Ranger. His father started a company, like a pack and ship type of company, right?
Right.
You go and you put your little parcel package in there. Well, I guess they were turning business away constantly because people were trying to ship furniture and things like that, correct?
Correct. The business he had was a privately owned shipping and patching store. He had a few of them, like a mailbox, etc. type of thing. But back in the days, he called it send it packing. And what a lot of people don't know about the model or the business model is that the vast majority of the business that you do is between the week after Thanksgiving and the week before Christmas. So
I've heard this. Yes.
All year round to get
You're waiting
business.
for that little slot of time.
As a matter of fact, in the summer months, you could go days without a single customer going in the store.
Interesting. So, Alli, I love hearing Matt's story as to what brought him into the military. Again, so thankful for people like you, and would love to hear your story as well.
Okay. Kind of like Matt, right out of high school at 17, I graduated a year early, and because I wasn't really interested in the whole school thing yet, and so I was like, what else can I do? And my whole family, my sister, my brother, they were in the military. I have uncles that were in the Marine Corps. So I was like, all right. And so I signed up and at 17, and I joined as a medic, and I was in the Army for 4 years. I was stationed at Fort Hood, Texas. It was a great opportunity. I learned a lot of things. I deployed in 2011 for about 6 months to Iraq. We helped shut down and come back over into the United States. And yeah, so that's a little bit about that. And then when I got out, I moved back to Ohio with my family, and I was kind of figuring out what I wanted to do. And so my mom has lived here for about 7 years. And so I moved down here and lived with my mom, and I was looking for a job. And within the first week, I found a job fair at SPC, and it was for Veterans Fair. And so all that went there were veterans. And so I already felt pretty comfortable going into a new environment, and I knew I'd be surrounded by veterans. And so I went there, and FreightCenter was posted there. And I handed my resume, and within about a week, I got a call back, and I came in, and that's when I found out that FreightCenter was a veterans-owned business. And I met Matt, and we sat down, and I felt super comfortable, and I felt like I was in a place that I could trust people because I know that what it takes to be in the military and what kind of people it attracts, and it brought a whole level of trust right out of the gate to join FreightCenter and see what they're all about. So
I love it when I hear stories about companies who are making it a priority to hire veterans because we know what great skill sets you have, and then also the work ethic and the trust factor.
Yes.
So it's really remarkable to be able to do that. I do want to focus really on for just lay it out for our listeners, FreightCenter, what it's all about, and how your business operates.
Sure. Now, Bill brought up that we're a 3PL, and so when people hear that, they're like, oh, okay, well, that's what you are. But the truth of the matter is most people don't know what a 3PL is. So what a 3PL is in shipping would be an intermediary for shipping. So, for example, you have somebody that needs to ship something, and then you have the actual hauler, the carrier. We're the middle person.
Gotcha.
And one of the biggest differences between a middle person in shipping and like a middle person like in travel, like a concierge, in like if you wanted to
travel agent,
use a travel agent, most probably you're going to pay a little bit of a premium, but they're going to take care of everything for you.
Sure,
hassle free. They're going to give their expertise. In our case, we make pretty big commitments to the carriers, and we'll say, we'll give you $5 million in revenue, and in exchange, they'll come back and say, well, if you do that, we'll give you a 90% discount on shipping. So what would cost a consumer $1,000, we're paying $100. So we're able to cover our costs, sell it for maybe $150 or something, and save somebody 85% off of the list price. So in our case, there's a significant cost savings by utilizing us. And often within shipping, the carriers are not capable of dealing directly with a shipper. They just don't have the staff. For example, one of our big carriers that we work with, R&L, I believe they have 4 national account reps that service the whole United States.
So it's too much for them to try to chase down and do all the shipping on their own. Okay,
correct.
That makes sense. So maybe give us an example, too, as to some of your different clients, like sizes.
Yeah, absolutely. So we have customers of every type. utilize us. 18 years ago, we were almost primarily consumer based, but over the years, it's evolved to about 80% business. But of that 80% business, the vast majority of them are either transactional or occasional shippers. And what I mean by that is they don't ship all the time that, a carrier with a national rep would send somebody out. Like Home Depot most probably isn't calling us because they can find their own solution.
Sure.
But somebody who ships a couple times a week, somebody that just kind of falls under the radar of the freight carrier, somebody that just kind of gets underserved. And so the carriers rely on 3PL such as FreightCenter to make it work.
In addition to the service that you provide, Matt, is what you're doing in the community. So, Bill, I want to talk about this hiring that's going on. 60 veterans is who you're looking for.
60 veterans. I mean, we'll take non-veterans, of course, but our goal would be to hire 60 veterans. And we're hiring from an account rep, who that would be the starting entry position there at FreightCenter, all the way up to somebody that works in IT. And there's many ranges in between there, okay? So this, I was telling you about how, my background in radio. And when I came to FreightCenter, there was no reason for me to like it. There's nothing about it, but I do. And it works, and the people, Matt, and I just know that veterans are going to walk in there and they're going to feel safe, and they know that they're being managed in a company that's owned by a veteran, so they can relate to them. So yes, we are looking for 60 employees. If they want to apply, they can go to our website at www.freightcenter.com/careers. Thank you very much.
Got it.
Or they can come to our building in Palm Harbor, and you can just find us on the web. Okay.
So I want to get both Matt and Alli your take on this, but I know that the culture that's created by having veterans working together, I mean, it's got to be fantastic. And so I'll start with you, Matt, your feelings on being able to help veterans, given your position of having been in the military and served and understanding them.
Yeah, that's for sure. Absolutely. I obviously am able to relate to veterans, obviously, because I am one. And I think that more than anything, I think that when you join the military right after high school, and while most people kind of find their own path in life and kind of do their own things, and whether that they move out to an apartment and do the normal path that most people go, when you join the service, it becomes very regimented, and then you get used to it, and then you get used to kind of being told an outcome of where you need to be, and then there's guidelines, and you got to figure out how to get there.
There's structure.
Structure, correct. That's the foundation of one of the reasons why culturally I think that veterans fit not only within our organizations, but I think within the industry of logistics in itself. Because logistics, finding a way to structure, it matches exactly what a veteran
it's a metaphor.
It really does.
Yes, that's a perfect fit.
So, but one of the most incredible things is when I go to logistics conventions, it's surprisingly how few military veterans there are out there. So I'd hire as many.
It's a great industry
absolutely.
to bring military
Absolutely.
veterans into. Nice. And Alli, what do you enjoy about it and see the, like we talked earlier, you've already mentioned some things, but what do you see in the culture that makes it so special?
Well, I'm a little away from the logistical sides of FreightCenter. I work in the HR office, so I'm all about the personal relationships with employees. And so working with veterans, that makes it really comfortable to get to know your employees and how FreightCenter is doing with them and how the employees are doing with FreightCenter, and really get to know each other. And it builds a culture, and we have events that we plan out for. We have... what are some of the events we have the veterans lunch that we've had. We have Thirsty Thursdays where we have some beer an hour before we get out of work, and we get to gather around and we really get to know each other. And veterans, you can always see them. They're always off just talking about veteran stories and just getting to know each other. And it's really awesome. We have Vietnam vets. We have Iraqi war veterans. We have veterans of all ages. And so you really just... I joined the military because it gives me a sense of belonging. You are part of this group, and it really just helps to feel comfortable. And
you really are getting that point across about the common understanding that's so essential for, after you've served, to have that with others, have that community.
Mm-hmm.
So, Bill, let us know again, let's get our listeners to know if they know any veterans, what do they need to do? Who do they need to contact? You
can contact anybody at FreightCenter, but our website, you can go there and apply on our website at www.freightcenter.com/careers. Or you can come to we're located in Palm Harbor, right on US 19. You look up the address online, okay? We are hiring 60 employees, again, from anybody from entry-level account reps all the way up to IT, all right? It's going to be great, 60 people.
Well, congratulations to all the success you all are having, and I'm so glad once again,
Bill. And
you
look great.
Oh, I love you, Bill. Thank you.
When are you due?
Good for my ego. It's coming up. End of April. Yes.
Well, congratulations.
Thank you.
It's great
Thanks for
seeing you.
coming in.